All right, folks, a minor here. There's a reason. So I'm draining the oil out, and I think I mentioned I'm still chasing a leak, but it's not the oil cooler. That was definitely leaking. But there are some other areas in the engine bay that I found some oil that I cleaned up. So let's check it out. So here you can see I grabbed some needle nose pliers and a little piece of paper towel, because what I found here, I'm gonna try to illuminate it, that's why I have my headlamp on, is right, let me pull it off my head so I can use it. See that RAA stamping? There we go, the phone's playing ball. RAA2, well, that's like a little cup. I don't think it's intended to catch fluids, but that had a good amount of oil sitting in there. And then on the other side of the car, near the bell housing where it mates with the adapter plate, you can actually see right there, see that little speck around that rounded edge toward right before you get to the oil pan? That's a drip of oil. So clearly oil is coming down the back side of the motor. Friend who I've grew up with in the Subaru community with Naziok, shout out to those folks that might be friends or now driving Hondas, whatever, was like, yeah, it's leaking from the head somewhere. So next logical point, as we were tracing on the back of the engine near the firewall, was that it must be something with the head gasket, or I keep saying head gasket, apologies, valve cover gasket. So we're going to take all this off, clean it up real nice, and then reapply a new gasket, some RTB in certain areas. If you go online, I'm certainly not the only person who states you need some RTB in certain areas. I forgot. So the first order of business is getting that valve cover off, and I really wanted to illuminate it just so I don't drop any bolts. Get real specific on picking this out so I don't drop anything into the valve train. All right, folks, making some progress here. I got the cover off. See the valve train here. Looks clean. Might be leaking. Valve lash adjustment. This motor's too fresh to warrant that. Not that I couldn't do it. I don't have the tools, honestly. But going back to what I mentioned, it does look like, so here's the valve cover. You can see a little bit of what looks like Honda Bond, given that gray color here. But then over here where you have these rounded edges, you can see there was some applied here and some applied at the corner, which actually is what you're supposed to do. Maybe it wasn't enough. Maybe just kind of scooched back to the firewall side, right? So this is where the firewall would be. So I'm gonna go ahead and rip this gasket out, clean up the mating location with probably a paper towel. And then go around it real quick, put it back on, reseal it, and then I probably won't do a fire up today. I need to get some oil. I think I have enough, but it's hot outside. Here in Virginia, they're getting like 100 plus heat index, so it's hot in the garage. Thankfully, I'm not complaining for those that have to wrench in the driveway. But probably just gonna patch this up, and I'll show you the final result. Oh, before I forget, this is that Radium press-on fitting that goes on to the breather side right here. Oops. I don't know if you can see that. Oh gosh, Dan, what are you doing? Right there. My magnet stick is not in the way. Yeah, there you go. So that fitting was pressed in a little bit, so I'm going to take the opportunity to really mate it up, because it actually caused a problem getting the valve cover out of the engine bay. So more to come. Quick status update, just in case you were curious. I have the new valve cover spark plug gaskets. That's the part number there for that. You can see that's the part it looks like. New valve cover gasket, that's for the spark plug. And then the valve cover, call it holders. I'll get the part number. These are just, they were from Amazon. That's the right part number, and honestly, I'm fine with it because they look just like the other ones. Here are the old ones. I will tell you, These were a complete pain in the neck to get off. You've probably seen from other videos. If you damage your valve cover, that's on you. But what I did is I used a very large straight slot screwdriver, and I have these rubber, like rubber little stoppers. Here, I'll just show you. It's easier that way. I basically took this, which is big old rubber grommet kind of guy, huge screwdriver, and use that as a pivot point. Just be careful that you don't damage your valve cover or crush your knuckles like I did. That was super fun. Here's the screwdriver I used. So something really beefy, right? Like this. Get in there, use that rubber component. Make sure you get into, as you open this, you'll see where it sits. You can tear these. Obviously, you can see there's some debris from the first one. I tried to put some needle nose pliers. That will not work. They're actually metallic in here. It looks like just a big piece of rubber, but I assure you it's solid. Like, this is very hard. You can't crush it. And I know it's magnetic because my magnet stick here, right, so there's got to be like a metal ring or some kind of ferro material in there. Anyways, your miles may vary, but I got all of mine out, cleaned them out. Gonna put a little bit of oil in there just to provide a nicer mating surface. Not a lot, just a little bit. More to come.